A two-part story where OP learns to destroy their friend's relationship in the best possible way. A man in conflict, though his partner is remorseful, so what do you do? Strange story where the OP is trying to force their friend to outdress the wedding party. What a coincidence! Your boyfriend proposes when you've been focusing so much on your friend's wedding. Hello, you snacks. Welcome back. My name is Jack. We got some wedding-themed stories all today, so let's dive in. Am I the a-hole if I tell my friend her boyfriend is planning to propose? I'm a 27 female. My best friend has been dating her boyfriend who's 26 for over 5 years. A while back, he reached out to me to help figure out ring size and the setup so he could make this the most magical day for her. Having known my friend for over 20 plus years, I know exactly how she wants her proposal to go and who she wants to be there. So I relayed all this information to him months ago via text and over the phone. I even took the time to covertly find and confirm which ring she would love the most. A little background. My friend is incredibly family and friend oriented, and in the past expressed to me on multiple occasions, especially during holiday season, that in the 5 years they've been together, he hasn't really made much of an effort to indoctrinate himself into her family, or friendships the way she has for his. While I do genuinely like him, I have always felt that he is incredibly self-serving and self-focused. Yeah, we're painting the boyfriend in the best light. Recently, through a mutual friend, I found out he started a group text between his, emphasis on his, friends and family to set up the time and date of the proposal. He has not only excluded myself, and according to the screenshots I've seen, he is doing everything verbatim I suggested he do, but he has completely excluded her family and other close friends from the event. He is planning on only having his boys and family present for the occasion, and knowing my friend, this would ultimately break her heart not being able to share this moment with her loved ones. I got heated and called him. At first he was dodging my questions, then just outright said, "This is my proposal and I've spent enough time and money to choose how I do it. Just be happy for your friend. It's not like you're not coming to the wedding." This infuriated me, and to make matters worse, I ran into her mom and dad at the grocery store and subtly asked if they knew any possibility she was getting engaged. They were unaware. And I know for a fact my friend has told him that he needs to ask her parents for their blessing. She's somewhat traditional. So I think it makes it clear as to why boyfriend here is trying to exclude her side of the family. He's chicken! He's afraid of the confrontation to what possibly them saying no? Young man, you have been a wonderful partner for our daughter these last 5 years. We are so happy she found you. Can I get your blessing for marriage?
No! Oh, disgusting! Yuck!
My friend wears her heart on her sleeve, and I can predict how this event will go down when she sees all of his close friends and family and none of hers. Considering her previous sentiments about his lack of interest in her family/life, she will 100% see this as being hurtful and selfish, and I know she'll cry. To make matters worse, the location of the proposal is a whopping 30 minutes from her parents' home. I don't want to get involved in a fight or reveal the surprise, but on the other hand, I feel I owe it to my lifelong friends to help her avoid being hurt and disappointed. Maybe even helping her rethink what her future would look like with someone who just doesn't really appreciate what she values in life. So, am I the a-hole if I tell my friend her boyfriend is going to propose? So it is a tricky pickle. All the signs do point to a selfish man only wanting his side of the family and things to be considered in this proposal event. But could this just be an example of the OP projecting their already disdain towards the guy? I feel in this circumstance you'd kind of want someone to tell you that this is a big red no about to happen, it's gonna ruin your relationship, please someone put a stop to this before it crashes and burns. But the top comment, do not tell her. As much as you know her and want this proposal to go as planned, it is ultimately up to her boyfriend how he wants to do it. If your friend is disappointed, then that can be her sign to discuss it with her fiance about moving forward. It is not your place to tell her or intervene at this point. What's interesting with this story is the post and the comments, a lot of people are saying yatar, but the most downvoted ones are also saying you would be the a-hole. They just have really bad examples as to why you would be the a-hole. There are a speckle of natars though. See what you think of this opinion. I don't think you would be the a-hole either way. However, my loyalty would be to my friend. If I were the friend, I'd absolutely want to know and be able to prepare myself and think it through. I'd be very upset and flabbergasted to walk into a proposal unprepared like that. The fact that you've warned this guy of your friend's wishes and he's ignoring that advice is very telling of his character. My mum did warn me when my boyfriend asked her for my hand in marriage, and I was thankful for the heads up. Which is a valid point. Is your friend someone who hates these kind of surprises? I know my girlfriend is like that. She doesn't really enjoy surprises. She enjoys things being, well, made aware of them. And personally, I'm the same. I kind of hate surprises, especially ones where there's a whole group of people and I'm not allowed to have a genuine reaction to it. Like, my God, proposing in front of people? Yeah, you're definitely going to get a purely honest response from your partner when she's being judged by multiple eyes. Some quick edits from the OP. I did not tell her parents. I covertly inquired if he had spoken to them yet about proposing, since it's been like 5 years, in a joking way. Another edit. The proposal is scheduled for this weekend. I will give you guys an update on how it goes. After so many responses, I have decided not to say anything, and to let things play out. I gave him an opportunity by expressing the need to invite her parents and friends like she's always wanted, and he chose not to. That's on him, not me. This is something OP has said in more detail in response to the top comment, essentially agreeing to just let things play out now. This is all on the to-be fiancé to sink or swim in. With this great quote, just be ready with the pint of ice cream and some girly films for if and when it all goes wrong. So, with everyone encouraging OP to basically wipe their hands clean of the blood of this situation, we move on to the update. And just as you expect, there is a nuclear fallout of a relationship. To everyone who told me to keep my mouth shut, thank you. So, on Saturday, the day of the proposal, I got a call from her boyfriend. He was screaming at me, blaming me for not showing up, uninvited still, to the proposal with her parents because she was upset they weren't there. I was freaking slack-jawed. I told him I knew this would happen, and he says, verbatim, "You just admitted you knew this would happen, so if you knew the whole time and you actually cared about her, you would have invited them." I was gobsmacked and hung up on him. Not even an hour later, I get a call from her asking me to come to her parents. According to her, this is how the situation played out. He popped the question. She said yes, and the people he invited popped out from hiding. She was bombarded by 4 of his guy friends, his mom, dad, older brother, and his sister-in-law. His parents were holding a sign that read, "Welcome to the family, Miss..." Insert his last name here. And this is where things go downhill. As if it wasn't already an avalanche. I did not know this before, and I thought I knew everything. But my friend doesn't want to change her last name. And she's told him that repeatedly since they got together. She's an only child from a Ukrainian family, and with everything going on with Ukraine in the last year, she's doubled down. When she saw the sign, she joked, "Miss your last name? I think you mean miss my last name." Everyone went silent until his mom said, "Well, the ring is already engraved. No changing it now." She takes the ring off and sees Miss his last name engraved on the band. Then she asked if her parents were coming. He gave every excuse. He didn't have their number. There were too many people there. He wanted to keep it private and eventually said, "This is my proposal to you and now my family is your family. We can just send your parents the pictures later." Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. She took the ring off and left. That's when I'm assuming that I got a call from him. She went straight to her parents. She asked them about the engagement. They were clueless. She then asked if I knew anything. I asked if she was in the right place. She said she was. So I told her I would answer any question she had, rather than dumping everything on her. She was upset, but thanked me. She was furious when I told her about the call from him earlier and said, "Does he really think I'm that shallow?" She said it wasn't about having a perfect proposal or her parents there. It was about him making the whole thing about himself, as always, and she was done feeling ignored and belittled. So this was her breaking point. She's staying with her parents currently and has been receiving texts from him. The worst one so far is him telling her she has to pay him back for the ring and for ruining his life. Right now, all I can do is be here for her, and whatever decision she makes, I will fully support because, as you all helped me realize, this isn't about me, it's about her. not my monkey, not my circus. With some final edits, she did give him the ring back when she took it off. I didn't include that because I was at the 3,000 character limit already. Besides, I doubt it's a ring she plans to actually steal anyway. Also, in an update, I did not mention this plan when I originally posted it, just in case her ex found this thread, but I can report now that we got a heads up last night that he wasn't at their apartment. So we ran over and got most of her stuff out, at least all the really important stuff. To those asking, no, she isn't going back to him. It's over. Could you imagine if she actually tried to intervene and help this whole ordeal? As this comment says, she probably would have married him and spent a few years feeling ignored and belittled, all the while believing y'all had his back and not hers. And I can guarantee he's gonna keep that ring for his next partner. He's not gonna get a new one at all. So the lesson of today's story, if you feel like you could help someone in a situation, don't. Let them suffer. That's the good Samaritan thing to do. Sticking to the wedding theme, we move over to this story and Off My Chest. Basically, the OPs try the tactic of, if I just try to ignore my feelings, it'll go away. My groomsman has slept with my fiance. So my fiance is 24 female and I'm 25 male. We're getting married in about 6 months. One of my groomsmen is a friend, 26 male, that I've been very close with for like 8 years, one of my best friends. Well, a few years ago, when we were all in college together, we had a threesome. We were all drunk, and we ended up deeply regretting it. Whenever I remember it, I cringe with shame, and I can't even say it out loud if it comes up while my fiance and I are talking. However, it basically went undiscussed ever since. Never talked about it, just tried to forget it. And for the most part, I did forget about it. We continued to be friends and hang out regularly for years. The three of us even hung out together with no awkwardness. Since my friend has been one of my closest friends for so long, that whenever I proposed, I made him a groomsman at the wedding without even thinking about it. But for the last couple of months, I can't stop thinking about him and my fiancé together. Especially since I found out shortly after that night that they continued to sleep together after I passed out on the couch. So it especially hurts thinking about that moment of them alone together. Also, on top of this, before the incident, my friend had inappropriately touched my girlfriend after a night of drinking when the three of us fell asleep in the same room. Also, he continued to flirt with her after the incident and after we knew it was a mistake and wouldn't happen again. Hey man, can you stop flirting with my girlfriend? It's really disrespectful. Oh bro, I'm so sorry. The last thing I want to be doing throughout your entire relationship with this woman is to disrespect you. I deeply regret and am ashamed of my actions at the time. I guess I didn't have enough respect for myself or my girlfriend to address this and confront him at the time about these two other things. But basically, now I feel like it's humiliating to have him as a groomsman, and that I should tell him he can't be up there with us anymore, especially since other people have heard about those, so it's not just a secret between the three of us. At the same time, he is my friend, and it feels crazy to do this to him. I also don't want to make waves and create a rift in the larger friend group since they are a part of the wedding party as well. It also feels silly and unfair to bring this up now after years of saying nothing and acting like best friends. I know my friend is ashamed of that night and of his actions from college, and I believe he has changed. We all have. Yeah man, that night opened my eyes, that you two are great together, and I'm fine on my own. Who's that under your sheet?
It's not your fiance.
I have no idea how or if to approach him about this, or if I'm overreacting and overthinking. Maybe I shouldn't let it bother me since it was so long ago, but every time I'm reminded of that night, I get filled with shame and embarrassment. I don't even know who I can talk to about this. I love it when people justify things with, "We were all hammered," as if being drunk doesn't bring out what you want on the inside, but we're too conscious to do without alcohol to inhibit that feeling. There is no such thing as, "I was drunk so it's okay." Being drunk brings out what's inside you. It removes the shy aspect of your behavior. They both slept with each other while you were passed out. That's not okay. From both of them. Good luck, man, but they are both not good for you. These! Especially as the other comment down here says, you've basically just rug swept all the incidents that happened. Your fiance's done the equivalent of stolen a bike and prayed for forgiveness, rather than the more Good Samaritan style of praying for a bike. Yes, I get in only one of those circumstances you actually get the bike, but that's not the point! Point is, she'd rather do the deed and then just get you to forgive her than she would to never get the chance. There is, interestingly enough, someone in the comments with some genuine life experience experience about this similar situation. They dated someone, were each other's first for a lot of things, eventually broke up, with them being the person who kind of took longer to move on. Later into young adulthood, his friend and her ended up getting together secretly until they finally decided to admit him to his face. Despite him moving on by then, his friend was still somewhat jealous and defensive of the relationship this guy had to this guy's now wife. However, the solution? Oh look, they talked. They communicated about it. Because, okay, end of the day, yes, you can be considered you're being defensive and jealous, but just because we normally shame those sort of feelings doesn't dismiss them from being legitimate feelings. Besides, it's not the emotion that we criticize anyway, it's more the actions people take from reacting to those emotions. So instead of balling up your feelings and growing some passive-aggressive resentment towards your friend, talk to him. And if he's still doing all these things after talking to him, then yeah, that's when you cut him off. Now, some people are quick to defend this group project they took part in as that there was no cheating involved, they all made the same mistake, they all decided to do this, all in a drunken state. Which, first of all, is kind of hard to argue because everyone has different states of tolerance. I mean, was the OP truly drunk? Was the other guy truly drunk? Or were they just taking advantage of someone who was exhibiting less inhibition? So what are your thoughts on that point? You think that because the night was a group session of a night that it doesn't matter what happens between two other people in their own little room just afterwards? Others would like to point out that the moment that OP was passing out, he couldn't give consent anymore, so it's kind of unfair to argue that he was okay with this thing happening, that he had no idea it was happening in the first place. After all, I mean, this is getting to a worse take. Why shouldn't he expected her to continue on? She was having fun, and he was the one who went to sleep. If he was too drunk to ask her to join him, then that isn't on her. Like, damn, Blue Dongle here is just on a warpath trying to defend a cheater. Solid advice, Blue Dongle. She's not gonna sleep with you, bro. We now move on to Am I the Devil? With a situation that you question where the generosity starts and writing a devil's contract ends. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my friend anymore after he rejected my suggestion? I have this friend who recently lost his job due to company layoff. Unfortunately, he's one of the secondary sponsors for his cousin's wedding. On the other hand, I have a thing for fashion. Unfortunately, I'm socially awkward and have body dysmorphia, so I developed a habit of randomly buying my friends some clothes that I find looking great for them. Among them, this particular friend is my favorite because he has a really good body proportion but has zero fashion sense. So here's the story. The wedding is on the weekend. Due to financial shortage, my friend couldn't afford clothes for the wedding, so he asked me if I could lend him some nice stuff since we're on the same size. But, like I mentioned, I prefer dressing my friends up rather than myself, so obviously I had none. Coincidentally, there's a newly opened thrift shop nearby, and we decided to go to that place instead. The place was great, and I was so excited. Now, I ended up finding this green kimono cardigan, which fits the motif of the wedding. I made him wear it, and it looked great on him. I decided to ditch the vest and wear the cardigan instead, since the invitation card says semi-casual anyway. However, he refused, saying he will outdress the groom, which confused me because I literally never heard of it being an issue among guys. Instead, he suggested wearing an olive green long sleeve, which is not just ill-fitting, but also looks old. If anything, he will get more attention by wearing that rather than the cardigan I'm suggesting. We had a bit of an argument, so I changed my mind and said I'm not buying him clothes anymore if he refuses to follow my suggestions. Then I left him at the store. Hours later, our mutual friend called me, asking me what happened at the store. Apparently, my friend asked for a few bucks from that friend so he could buy the shirt he wanted. Now this mutual friend was calling me out for being toxic because apparently I'm being manipulative earlier. Also, because I refused to consider his feelings knowing that he's the one who will wear it. In my defense, I explained that I'm the one who's buying, and therefore I have the right to decide on which one I'll be paying for. The conversation ended with our mutual friend saying I really should reflect about my action because apparently I'm the selfish one here, as I only cared about fulfilling my desire to flex my creativity. Am I the a-hole? Dunno, OP. What'd you happen to find upon that self-reflection you clearly didn't bother taking? There is some support in the comments, thinking OP might be Natar, offering various suggestions as to why you are being generous. You have a good sense sense of fashion. He was being ungrateful and stubborn. He was unreasonable by expecting you to buy him whatever he wanted, ultimately believing you can salvage this friendship. But oh, what's this? Weird how this account and OPs frequently comment and reply on each other's posts. Unhinged even. If that isn't enough evidence, this is the only not the a-hole in this entire comment section. So yeah, you can best believe that's probably an alt or just someone's attempts to troll. I think this sentence just nails it perfectly. He asked for your help with money, not with fashion. Like, oh no, he's worried about being considerate of the groom and you're more concerned about your ego. Just help out the poor guy if you feel inclined to do so. I can agree that it's your money, your choice, but the only reason you changed your opinion was purely because you didn't like that they didn't want to go by your own personal style. It's a completely subjective thing. Of course he's allowed to say no to it. Checking out another Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for skipping my best friend's wedding? I'm 24 female. My best friend, 25 female, has been engaged for about a year now and is getting married next week. She asked me to be maid of honor and I've been helping with the planning. We had plans for a hen to do next week and for some pre-wedding events, but I can hand those plans to someone else if she wanted. There's nothing that stops me from going now. But my boyfriend, 26 male, in all the excitement of wedding planning, proposed to me last night. He said he wants to run away with me, get married, and go on our honeymoon. I'm so excited. He got me a gorgeous ring and I just had to say yes. And we're traveling to Elope right now. Wow, what a guy, making such a strong, adamant decision based off something else going on around him, just like that. I bet he had a lot of money in crypto. Of course, we don't want to overshadow the big day next week, so we're not telling anyone that's happening. We use the excuse of work and we're gonna go offline for our honeymoon so nothing gets leaked to her. But for some reason, she's really mad at us. She keeps saying we've ruined her wedding, but she should just be happy to be getting married to the man she loves. I don't see the issue because we're not telling her what's going on. She has other friends she can ask to be her maid of honor. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for skipping her wedding to marry my boyfriend? Of course this sets a flame war in the comments and rage at this person, to the point of starting some conspiracy theories. A few are a bit suspicious of the boyfriend suddenly wanting to propose the moment of this wedding is coming to a close. Yep, isolating her from her best friend and locking her in at the same time. Yeah, that was my take. Boyfriend is removing her from friends. Could have asked any time, chose to pick a day to remove her from her best friend's wedding. Well, it's simple. Do it at a time that makes the most people mad at OP enough to cut her off willingly so he doesn't have to manipulate her out of their lives so hard.
Quick! I want to get married before my best friend. Surely this is true love.
Oh, it gets worse, people. You think it's bad enough that he's just popped the question the moment their best friend's trying to get married? Well, turns out they haven't even been together that long. Some comments are sourcing that apparently they've only been together for 2 months. I realize this is probably fake, but my dirty lens for someone proposing after 2 months is my sister-in-law's ex. He proposed after 3-ish months, told this big story how he was going to go to college and improve himself for her. They did at least not marry for over a year, but they were divorced in less than 2. He was an abusive drunk who couldn't hold down any kind of job. He ended up in prison for what he did to his next girlfriend. Now, strangely enough, if that dissuades you from being that kind of person who gets married within a few months, well, the comment just below is that same person. They dated for 3 months, got engaged, and married just 3 months later. Literally within 6 months they were married. But 26 years later and 2 children later, still going strong. So, look, it's nice to know there's some outliers. So yes, it seems they're absolutely adamant on pursuing this decision with their lives. I look forward to the update where she's either divorced or they appear in a true crime podcast story. Anyway, friends, that's where we'll end today's stories. Thank you, as always, for watching. Hope you enjoyed your time here today just as much as I did. And until next time, drink some water, be good, and that's really it. Bye-bye.